Hey there guys, Mike here from Sell Your Service, and today I want to talk about the two biggest lies that funnel builders tell themselves and what to do about it. And those two lies are that A, you have a niche, and B, you have a USP. So what do I mean by this? When we set up marketing funnel businesses, it's really easy for us to get swept up in the idea that we need to have a particular target niche and a particular USP. Now, I'm not saying that those are wrong. What I'm saying is that the answers people give to both of those questions are lies. They're not a niche and they're not a USP. So let's take, for example, the typical funnel builder who goes into the business and thinks, yeah, I want to start building marketing funnels. I've taken Mike's course on building marketing funnels with Beaver Builder and Active Campaign, and I want to start building those for customers. And we start saying to ourselves, okay, so who's your target market? Now, to me, your target market is the most important question that you need to be able to answer above all else. The market that you serve comes before everything else. It comes before your business name, comes before your brand, how much you charge, what your category is, the definition of your community, the products that you deliver, the services, your website, copywriting, everything. Everything follows your market and your niche that you choose. So why is it that so many people choose small business as a market? I'll often go to like networking events and we do a lot of speaking and stuff like this. And when I talk to people, I say, yeah, I've got quite a specific niche. I coach people who build marketing funnels. Okay, so anyone who builds marketing funnels, I coach them. Now, I actually think that it could be more specific than that. I would argue that that's a market and not necessarily a niche. I think I've got an idea of who our niche is, but I need to be more specific about it with our avatar that we go after. But I get a lot of people saying to me, yeah, we've got quite a specific niche. We want to go after a specific niche. Our niche is small business. Oh, right, 99% of the GDP of the UK and potentially of the rest of the Western Hemisphere is your niche, is it? That's very well defined. The problem is that small business is not a well-defined market. Depending on who you ask, it could be anyone from 5 people, 5 employees, all the way up to 250 employees. In the UK, for example, any business with under 250 employees is considered a small business. Now, a lot of the time we think, okay, well, instead of going after small business, I'm going to go after a particular industry then. And a lot of people get industry confused with niche. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I think that an industry is a fantastic thing to go after. I go after funnel builders, for example. But I also don't think that industry is the first thing that you should be looking at. I don't doubt that you could help every single business on the planet. I don't doubt that you could help absolutely everyone that you come across, regardless of industry, regardless of business size or any of that. But the reality is you can only help one type of business, and only one type of business can sustain you. Another mistake that a lot of funnel builders make is that they go after an industry that they think is going to be easy to generate leads in, but that does not mean that it's necessarily an industry or a market that can sustain them. For example, if I say, well, I'm going to work with florists, I'm going to build marketing funnels for florists. That's awesome, fantastic. Good luck getting a $25,000 project out of someone who sells flowers for a living. It's just not going to happen. Now, that's nothing against florists. They, a long time ago, did used to be our niche, but we had to have a turnkey solution that kept our profit margins high at around 30%, but the product that they bought was anywhere between $500 to $5,000. So when choosing a niche, you have to be brutal with yourself and you have to say, is this truly a well-identified customer type that I could go after, that other people would recognize, and crucially, that they would call themselves? For example, there was a telco company who used to be a customer of mine. Now, technically speaking, they were a small business. They had about 200 employees, national company. They were a national company, but they had under 250 employees. So technically they were a small business. Now, if I said, okay, well, we work with SMBs and I was just one person, most people would go, oh, so Mike works with businesses that are like 5 to 15 employees maybe. And that wasn't the case. We had a team of people and we went after this telco company and we worked really, really well with them for about a year. And then turns out it didn't actually go anywhere, and it's not an industry that I actually don't really want to work in that anymore. So we left that client. But that's completely different to working with individual entrepreneurs and solopreneurs who run coaching businesses, although technically they are in the same niche. So going after an industry or any kind of market, you have to be brutal with yourself and think to yourself, is this going to be a market that can sustain me, or I just think I can generate some easy leads out of? Now, when we create this custom market and we create this niche, it becomes very, very tempting to protect that because we're worried that other people are going to come across it. In truth, you probably still haven't found a true niche. Niche marketing is not saying, oh, we build websites for people who are hobby fishing enthusiasts, right? That's still broad, man. That's still crazy broad. One of the things that you have to be able to do is make sure that your customer recognizes what you call them. If I say that, yeah, we go after authority-based businesses, my customers don't call themselves authority-based businesses. My customers call themselves funnel builders or professional bloggers or professional YouTubers, content creators, digital product salespeople, funnel builders, funnel hackers. You need to find out what they call themselves before you determine to before you give them a label. I've got another video which talks about audience insights and using the tools on things like Facebook and magazines.com, which I basically ripped off from Miles Beckler, whereby you can find out an enormous amount of insight on your particular chosen market. Even saying, okay, we work with accountants, and a lot of people go after the professional services industry, and I don't really know why. The reason I think people go after professional services is because they think it's well defined. It's not. That's basically the entire service industry. So what you're saying is you go after small businesses, and then you've gone after the largest segment of small businesses. That's still 75% of the market. Even accountants is massive. Do you go after accountants who work strictly B2B? Do you go after accountants who work specifically in tax? Do you go after accountants with over 15 locations nationwide? Here's why this is so specific. Again, I don't doubt that what you deliver could benefit any business or any accountant, but accountants will recognize themselves before they sift through all of your marketing collateral to understand what it is that you deliver them. So if I said to someone, we build marketing funnels, in fact, I wouldn't even use the term marketing funnels. I'd say we help accountants with minimum of 5 locations nationwide, up to 20 locations nationwide, find and acquire and keep more customers and increase the average lifetime value of those customers. That is much more appealing. That is a niche that I can go after. Now, here's the deal. People don't want to choose niches. They have a fear of choosing them at all. That's another video for another time, because they're worried that the market won't be big enough. It's not true. It's never been true. Specificity and going after a small niche creates depth, and depth creates growth. The other thing that people then do is they have the USP, and they'll say, okay, what's your USP? And they go, we build results-driven marketing for brand-engaged based businesses. What the fuck does that mean? USP, the word unique, and I've spoken that I actually don't believe that USP is a particularly, I don't think it's necessary. However, I do believe that some businesses need to have a USP in order to define themselves against their market. You have to do something better or different than any of your competitors. And the reality is most people's USPs are things that they can also say. Sell Your Service, for example, is the #1 coaching program in the world for people who want to sell marketing funnels to their customers. Bar none. There isn't anyone else even close to that. We're the only company that's doing it. We're also the only company that offers a certification for marketing automation funnel builders. So there's a ton of stuff there that we've got that is completely unique. No one else can say that. Now, if someone had enough time and money and inclination, they could absolutely go ahead and create the exact same thing and say the exact same thing. But chances are they're not going to, because I've already crafted out that niche and I've kind of got a stranglehold on that market. But what a lot of businesses do and a lot of funnel builders do is they'll say, yeah, we create results-driven marketing campaigns for accountancy-based businesses. And I'll go, that's my USP. The problem with that USP is that I could come along, even with no money or no inclination, and say the exact same thing, and you've lost your USP. I could literally say the exact same thing straight away, and you've lost your USP. There's nothing you can do about it. Anything where your competitor won't say the opposite of is not a USP. If I say, yeah, we are a friendly, let's say that you go, yeah, well, what do we do better than our competitors? We're friendlier, we're more service orientated, and we've got better pricing. Right, my competitor is not going to say the opposite. Therefore, it's not a USP. They're not going to say we have terrible service, we're not very friendly, and we've got really shit pricing. They're not going to say the opposite. So therefore, it's not a USP. On the other hand, someone could come along and say, we are the #1 coaching platform for podcasters, and we are the only company that have a certification on running a podcasting network. That's out there, and that's opposite. Someone would say the opposite of what I have already created as my USP and my niche. So something to, as a rule of thumb, in order to understand whether you do truly have a niche or you do truly have a USP is, are you able to say it and no one else is? Truly, no one else is able to say it. And also, would someone say the opposite? If they wouldn't say the opposite, then chances are you haven't got a USP. And you have to be brutal with yourself. We'll talk about committing to a niche another time. I think it's something that a lot of people struggle with. But in the meantime, thanks very much for listening and watching and all that kind of stuff. Share the video with a mate, post it on Facebook, all that kind of stuff. Send it via carrier pigeon. I don't know what people are doing now on social media. And I will speak to you later. Cheers, guys.